Odekunle's friends were furious. They were angry and they kept asking questions, different questions. Where were you? Were in the forest? Why didn't you tell us? Why are you not telling us now? Who did it? Oh, I can't tell you. I just need to check up on this. No, we need to know who did it. If I tell you, you won't change a thing. Okay, try us first. You understand? And then eventually he told them that it was Ajanoku. And there was cry of, hey, ooh, in the air. And then the question is, who dares challenge Ajanoku? Everybody wanted to take it one step at a time, to think it through, to try and devise a means by which they can get justice for their friend. And in the course of, discussing all of this, and so they mentioned the case of how who is married to another person's wife, which you have said earlier, Omoyene, and how they, the circle of friends of Odekunle, were the same people that were bashing Omoyene's fiancé then to say, oh, serves you right, here you cannot fight. Now it is their turn. What are they supposed to do? Okay, Odekunle, amidst all of this discussion, stands up and walks out on all of them. And so we are back in Disola's house, and Disola is also weeping. But if you remember Yoruba history, you'll recall that if a man and a woman get married, all the villagers, the parents, all of them, both the parents of the male, the parent of the groom, the parent of the bride, they're going to stay outside in front of their huts, in front of the couple's hut, waiting for their first, right? And then jubilation comes when the bride comes out with a stained handkerchief, okay? Apparently, it has to be a white handkerchief or a white cloth. And then she comes out with a stained handkerchief that is stained with blood. So that means that the wife, the wife pride was intact up until wedding, right? So now, this last pride has been stolen from her by our almighty Ajanoku. And now she starts to cry. Joshua, who is Dekunle's sister, start to pester her. What is wrong with you? You can talk to me. You can. And in the midst of her asking Desola what was wrong with her, Desola's mother enters. Oh, my child, what is wrong? And Desola starts to say, oh, he has taken it. He has taken my pride. Village square. Everyone is going to make fun of me. Who has given you shame? What is going on? And Desola is like, and Joshua is like, is it my brother? Is it Odekunle? Say, Odekunle, Odekunle, oh. Whilst she still refused to stop crying, the father enters and Odegbami. And before they enter, though, Joshua has been saying, oh, I can only talk to Bami. I need to talk to Bami. That she needs to talk to her father. I need to talk to Bami. I need to this, I need to that. So they entered and she's like, Bami, they've taken it. Joshua thought that Odekunle had impatiently taken, Gisela's pride instead of him waiting till their wedding night, right? And so she runs out, apparently, to Odekunle, to go and challenge him. And Gisela keep insisting that she wants to talk to only her father. And so, of course, Odekunle had to excuse them. But the mother didn't leave, okay? So Gisela tells her father that right there in the forest, he came with armed guards and gripped her. It's evident now that Ajanoku had taken Desola's pride. Now, if you recall that even though every other person in the village did not know, Iyagba had told us that Ajanoku is a bastard, and there is every indication that Sheribawon is Ajanoku's father. Now, if Sheribawon is Ajanoku's father, that means that there has been an incest. So we are back to Ajanoku and Omoyene, his pregnant wife. And they are both playing whatever. Oh, has he kicked today? Oh, he kicked 6 times. Oh, can I touch him? Oh, he just kicked again. And whilst all of this was going on, Sheribawon enters. And Sheribawon starts to cry and ask Ajanoku, why did you do it? Ajanoku asks that Omoyene excuses them. And then he asked, what are you saying? Why? What happened? What happened at the Kolanut farm? Oh, okay, that. Oh, well, I had to do what I had to do. You said that it had to be done every 90 days. And that this is the 6th virgin. So that means that every 90 days after the coronation, Ajanoku had been taking advantage of virgins for the Jubilee rites. Do you recall the Jubilee rites? And then Sheribawon started to say, oh, it shouldn't have been her. Oh, you said, oh, that girl, oh, don't mind her. In fact, she was proving stubborn. And she pleaded, I nearly left her alone. I nearly listened to her. But thank God I did not do. And she was even with one scrubby looking young man right there in the bush. Oh, and oh, she was the sweetest. She was the sweetest and the purest. And Sherebamu was just fuming with anger. Like, you should have listened to her cries. You should have listened to her. You should have left her alone. And he said, well, you gave me this job. So I don't know why you actually placed me on this throne if I'm a pawn in your hands to be used, because I don't know why you would give me a task that would not even give me rest, because every 90 days I have to have someone to do this with. And he says, fine, at least this is the sixth one now. At least this is, you said 6 virgins, and that girl, even though she was stubborn, that girl is the 6th virgin. Now we can go we can go ahead with the jubilee rite, and everybody will just forget that all of this has happened. But Sherebamu kept saying it. You shouldn't have. She was pleading. She was begging you. You should have asked me. You should have come to ask me. You shouldn't have done things on your own. Like, I don't understand. When? How? As how? Why should I all of a sudden come to ask you about this particular thing? You give me a task and I'm following it and I'm doing it well. So why should I be concerned about this particular one? Sherebamu just kept, saying the same thing, saying the same thing. And then amidst all of their, arguments, Ajanoku, hinted that, okay, wait, maybe you actually put me there for your own selfish interest. And while Sherebamu was also talking, Sherebamu also said that he put him there he put Ajanoku there so that he will be able to control the affairs of the village. Okay, not for Ajanoku to directly affect him as he has. I'm like, oh, so Sherebamu actually needed someone to just be there. Since he cannot be there, he needed someone to be on the throne so that he will be able to control that person. And of course, the right person he can use that would listen to him is Ajanoku. Meanwhile, in all of this, Omoyeni, the wife, was behind the door, eavesdropping. And then before Ajanoku, before Sherebamu leaves, Sherebamu, tells Ajanoku, she's at my place, she's at my house, she's weeping, she has not eaten since that incident, she had not drunk any water, she had not taken anything, she's weak, she's this, she's sad, you shouldn't have done it. And Ajanoku is like, wait, what? What is she doing at your place? What is it you're not telling me? And Ajanoku is not like, maybe it's true what Yadba is saying. Maybe it's true that I am an elephant, but my elephant cannot do anything. Like, I'm just there, I'm just bearing the name. I'm not living up to that name. Maybe she's right after all. And then she angrily tells the guards to bundle Sherebamu out of the palace. It's getting interesting, right? They're getting somewhere. At Yadba's house, Omoyeni comes into Yadba's house, and Yadba asks what she's doing here. Why not at your husband's place? And she says, Yadba, I need your help. I need your help. I need to tell you something. And Yadba is like, oh no, you can't be here. I'm supposed to be mad, remember? Everybody considers me as a mad person. Everybody regards me as a mad person, and you should too. So what are you doing here? And he says, and she says, look, I need to confide in you. Iyale tells me that that I can confide in you. And I think it's about time that I told you this. The baby I'm carrying is not for Ajanoku. And Yadba asks, whose baby is it? And he says, oh, it's Omoyeni's baby. We've been meeting secretly. And then Yadba tells her, there is only one thing to do. Do you know what that thing is? Let's find out. Virtually everybody is now at Yadba's house. Iyale, Demoke, Sherebamu's wife, Odekunle, who is seen carrying Desola, okay, because Desola is almost dying. She can't talk, she can't stand. And then we see Odekunle's friends, and Omoyeni. All of them have come to see Yadba to seek her help in this situation. They feel that she's the only one that can, she's the only one that can explain and can prefer solution. So Iyale, who has always believed that Yadba is not mad, okay, and Iyale, that's Odekunle's mom, had always been the one, has always been like the only friend that Yadba has, okay, or had always, have in that village. She's the only one that believes that she's not mad. She's the only one that is always there for Yadba. And so she enters, and they come outside, gisting, oh, I need to brush my teeth. Oh, why won't I brush my You want the villager to say that not only am I mad, but my mouth is also smelling, so they were just joking. And then she comes outside, and she didn't she didn't give any credence to those people, in front of her house. And Iyale tells her, your children have come to see you. And she's like, what have you done? Why did you do this? It shouldn't be you. Why are they here? And he says, they are your children. They have come to seek for forgiveness. And he says, I cannot remember giving birth to my husband. So I don't have any children. Why are they here? I don't have. So they should go. And those ones are already kneeling. Desola is already stretched out on the floor. And they kept begging, please, you need to listen to them. You need to listen to them. And Yadba insisted that no, it was not that. These same people that are here are the same people that tagged her as a mad person, even in the market square. And these same people are here begging, needing a mad woman's help. No, that's not going to happen. Then Iyale tells Iyadba that, see, your adopted child, Desola, is also here. She's not talking. She's weak. She's almost dying. Remember that you said that you love Desola because she was born at a time when you were going through a particular stage. And that is why you have this special love for her. This same girl that you have special love for is right here in front of your house, helpless. And that got her. And she said, Desola, where is Desola? And they said, this is her on the floor. And she rushed to her. Desola, what is it? What happened to her? Oh, she hasn't been able to eat. She hasn't spoken. She hasn't this. So why did you leave her down here? Why didn't you bring her inside? We inside, and you still left her in this cold. And then they took Desola in. And Iyadba asked, what do you think happened to her? And they said that they don't know, and that Sheribawon is not saying anything. And Iyadba said, no, Sheribawon knows exactly what is wrong with Desola. And said, Sheribawon doesn't know that anytime Sheribawon will just look at Desola and give a deep sigh. And he has just been thinking that Iyadba says, Sheribawon knows. And then Sheribawon enters and says, yes, I know what is wrong with Desola. He kneels and asks that Iyadba should help them. Iyadba was surprised. And Demoke sprang up and held him by his shirt. Said, oh, so you know what has been wrong with my only child? And I've been asking you all this while, and you didn't give me fit to tell me? And then Iyadba all of a sudden asked Sheribawon, what did you call me? I need you to call me by that name again. What did you call me? And Sheribawon says, Fadike. Iyadba says, yes, my name is Fadike. Fadike. Omo Fadike Adoni. That was my name. But you lied and cheated. Then used your treachery to change my name. Suddenly, I became that mad woman. And then Iyadba. All because you wanted to cover up your atrocities. I was once a respected queen in the palace of Akinjobi. You turned my husband against me. You connived with Adebisi, my younger wife, and Demoke, your wife, backed up your lies. She even swore to what she never saw, and both of you crushed my own world. Akinjobi believed you because he trusted his friend and medicine man. What else will the elders do? Now tell me, that night I saw you and Adebisi in a room doing what only my husband had the right to do with his wife. Did you think I was going to expose you? Did Adebisi not tell you that I swore never to say anything provided you stopped the abominable act? Oh, she did. But you both have enjoyed it so much that you couldn't stop. You completely betrayed the trust of those close to you. No one can turn back the tide of time. It's too late now to cry. I did a lot of crying, alone, miserably, but that was in the past. I have only one question for you. Who is Olaniyonu's father? Who is Ajanoku's father? Now it's getting clearer, right? So apparently from what Iyadba just said, Sheribawon was busy servicing Akinjobi, who is supposed to be his best friend. Was busy servicing Akinjobi's second wife. And Iyadba knows about it. Iyadba cautions them and tells the second wife that, look, I'm not going to say anything. See my mouth. I'm not going to say anything. But you see this abominable act, you both just stop it. Just stop it right away. But because it was already too sweet for them, both of them, they were into it. They couldn't stop. And so they had to connive so that Iyadba could leave the palace and they could continue with the abominable act. Yeah. So Iyadba was not mad. Iyadba didn't do anything wrong, but they felt threatened by Iyadba's silence, that Iyadba is eventually going to tell Akinjobi, and then Akinjobi will lose faith in his best friend and medicine man and in a second wife. And that was why. And even Demoke, Tesala's mother, connived to the fact that Iyadba is actually mad. And she was sent out of the palace. So if you were the one, would you accept these people back? Would you accept to help them? So Iyadba asked, tell me, just answer this one question. Who is Olaniyonu's father? Who is Ajanoku's father? And Sheribaon says, I am. Demoke was like, yay, I'm dead. And Iyadba continues that Akinjobi, that is her own late husband, kept doing the rightful thing, okay, with his second wife, not knowing that the pregnancy is not his, okay? And then when Olaniyono was given birth to, they needed to silence Iyadba completely. And they cooked up, a story, a very miserable act, I would say. So Olaniyono had, gotten to a certain age, right? And then she enters the bathroom when Iyadba was there, and it was tagged as adultery. Like Olaniyono is with the first wife. This is sacrilege. This is that, and that was what they used. And even the market that was not there also saw that yes, that Iyadba used to do that with Olaniyono, and then she was sent out of the palace just because she knows the truth that no one else knows. Let me read this. The unthinkable happened, and with it a series of other calamities. While Akinjobi was legitimately sharing the bed with his wife, unknown to him, his blood was also mixing freely with that of a bastard child. Soon, it developed a strange ailment. The same Sheribaon sharing the bed with his king's wife was also his medicine man. And to cover up their sacrilege, they arranged Olaniyono to come into the bathroom. That boy forcefully took what belonged to his father. That means that Olaniyono raped Iyadba. I was accused of adultery, and Demoke swore to what she never saw. And of course, we see Demoke, pleading, this is too much. Please don't say anymore. This is abomination. This is this. And, she started begging, Iyadba to forgive her. Because Sheribaon was the one that insisted that she has to do that. Sheribaon asked for forgiveness from his wife, Demoke. But his wife refused to forgive him. And instead turns to Iyadba and asks if Iyadba has any solution to this condition that her daughter is in. And Iyadba responds that Sheribaon needs to tell all of them what had happened. And then Sheribaon said, well, he did Ijedudo for Ajanoku, and everybody shouted. Iyadba is like, Ijedudo, how can you do that? So, like I said, apparently he had to sleep with 6 virgins, okay? So each of those virgins would be on the brink of death, okay? They're going to have a very slow and painful death, while their lives, their years rather, is being added to Ajanoku. So that means that Ajanoku will become immortal. And so the number had to complete like 6, so that, let's say Desola is going to live for like 65 years, you get? The 65 years is going to come to Ajanoku. The other 5 virgins that had been defiled by Ajanoku, let's say that, so that is the right that Sheribaon decided to do for him. And because he is Sheribaon's son, Sheribaon decided to make him immortal and make him powerful, since he is his son. All right, and Iyadba tells everyone what that right is, and everyone is surprised, shocked, disappointed. But then the bottom line is the final right is in 3 days. There is a solution, however, but the solution lies in the stomach of Omoyeni. That is the child that Omoyeni is carrying. While all of this was going on, though, Odekunle, after realizing what Sheribaon had done to his betrothed, okay, he runs out, comes back in with a cutlass and wanted to kill Sheribawon. Sheribawon removed his shirt and willingly gave himself to say and said, you know what, just kill me, because there's really nothing I'm living for. The person that I consider my son, right, as I don't even recognize him anymore. I don't know who he is anymore. And my daughter, this is her lying helpless at the brink of death. So there's nothing. I've disappointed everybody. There's nothing I'm living for. Just strike me dead. But Iyadba restrained Odekunle and collected the cutlass from him. We are going to the resolution of this conflict. It is 3 days' time and it is Jobele Festival, the day that Ajanoku had been waiting for so long, the day that he would finally become immortal. And so he stands to address the people and then tells them, oh, this is the day where you celebrate harvest and all, but this day is the day that I will become immortal. And then he asks for Sheribawon. Sheribawon is not in the palace. Odedbami and Ogundele asked if they could continue with the rite, and Ajanoku answered. Shortly after, Desola walks in. She was almost naked. She walks in slowly, followed by Odekunle carrying a large calabash, followed by Iyadba, Demoke, Iyale, and the rest of them. Ajanoku sees Desola and demands, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here? And all of a sudden, Desola ran to him, hugged him tightly, and held on to his shirt. Okay, and then afterwards, Desola falls on the throne, whilst Ajanoku falls on his knees, behaving as though he's beginning to run mad. Iyadba asked Iyale and Demoke to go attend to Desola. They get to Desola, the throne, and Desola sneezes, and they are happy. Iyadba tells them that Desola has just snatched her life back from the king. Ooh. And then, shortly, Odekunle runs to Ajanoku, opens the calabash, brings out a necklace that has charms, puts it on Ajanoku's neck, and Ajanoku slumps and dies. Now, everybody is asking, where is Sheribawon? They tell them that Sheribawon had hung himself on the Iroko tree. I mean, who can live with all of the atrocity that he has caused, not just himself, but the entire village at large? So, Sheribawon is dead. Desola has a life back. Ajanoku is dead. Omoyeni and Delane can now be together, finally, and the child is definitely his. And so Iyadba asks all of them, hello, today is not for celebration. You all should go home. Shush. When it's time, the new king would be announced. And just after she finished saying this, Omoyeni screams, the child is coming. Iyadba asked, is he really coming? Omoyeni says, yes. And Iyadba says, then let him come. And they formed a circle round Omoyeni. And with that, we have come to the end of Once Upon an Elephant. I'm sure that you believe that it's a good read. So this, even if you have not read the display, just take your time to listen and watch this over and over again. It's well detailed, and subsequent videos now will do the analysis, the character analysis, and every other thing that we need to do on this, and then we move to our next text. Till I see you in my next video. Bye.